Hi, this is János, it's Real World Audio, and today we are going to have fantastic content. I'm going to talk to you about void pipes and 10-inch drivers and capacitors. It will be really exhaustive, and I'm going to answer questions. So all of these will be your questions answered that you have asked on the Buy Me a Coffee page of mine. And that leads to the sponsor of today's video. Oh, János, you are getting sponsors! No! Yes! The sponsor of this video is myself. So I'm sponsoring this video, and I'm going to show it to you all that when, for example, you are watching one of my videos, and then you scroll down a tiny little bit. Oh, there we are. And then you see that there's this thing. It says there's a description under the video, right? There's that thing coming up. Or maybe maybe it might show up to you like that when you click on the page, right? It says so many views, and then there's blah blah blah, and then ... more, and then the comments are starting. So when you have a thing like that, you click on the more, and that will show you the description of the video. So in general, when you watch something on YouTube, it's really a good idea to check out what the person who posted the video tells about his or her own video, because you might find some information there that's super helpful. And sometimes, like in this description, I put there some details about the video, some clarification. This time I didn't put much, so it's not a big loss of yours if you haven't checked it, but often I do put in stuff, and that can be really helpful. And however, what I added there is just my usual self-sponsoring speech that you can click on that tiny little link, and that will bring you to my Buy Me a Coffee website, where you can donate anything, any little contribution to me, even as low as $2. So I'm not asking, your whole paycheck or something like that, as much as you're comfortable with. And when you give a donation, then you also post a comment with that. We post a question, and I'm prioritizing to answer these questions which I received on Buy Me a Coffee. If you are so kind to support me, then I will be also kind and give back your attention. So what happens when we click on that link? Are we going to die? No. Let's click on it. Are we? No, we haven't died. Okay, good. I'm still alive. Whew. Okay, no one. Yeah, good. So there it is. So here we are on my channel's Buy Me a Coffee page, and there it's really chill. There's no high pressure or anything, and then you can click on it. Like, for example, there's the thing, like, if you click, like, how many coffees would you like? A coffee means $2. If you click on one, and then you can enter your name, or just you can remain nameless, and then your comment will say just someone posted something, and then you can remain anonymous if you want. And then you say oh, there's my thingy there. I have to remove myself. Let me just go back from here. Oh, I can do that as well. So under that thing, so you just type in your name, or leave it as anonymous, and then you can add your question here, and then you can click on support $2, and then you can pay with PayPal or however you want. And then when you do that, then your message will appear on this page, and then it will be listed right here, and I can browse it, and then I will respond to you. I cannot sadly promise that I can respond right away, but I always find time to answer each and every one of the Buy Me a Coffee comments and questions, and sadly I cannot say the same thing that I have the current energy, or I would say time, available to answer all of the questions that I receive on the videos, like right here. So I really, this time you see that I have answers there, but the reason for that is that when you look out, if you look outside, we have again another storm hitting us, and I closed down my workplace today, so we got a day off. So now I finally have time to deal with the channel, because otherwise it's been really busy, sadly, which is good. But you know, when you are part of opening up a phase 1 cancer treatment clinic, then your life is pretty much it's disappeared. Yeah, you know, it's gone. And that's one of the things that I'm doing at work on top of my normal workload. Plus I have my aunt who is battling cancer, and I'm her only support to help with that. So that's kind of like, if you are looking for miracles on earth, like me doing any videos at all, or having time to answer comment, that this is one of the world's 10 miracles. So anyway, I don't want to spend more time on that, because we are here, and let's get on to the answers, I mean the questions. I can get on to the answers. And in any case, anyone's wondering why am I looking all over the place, very easy. My camera is up here, so if I look into the lens, then you see as if I'm looking at you, right? However, there's the screen next to it, and that's where I can see what the camera is doing. So sometimes I have to check that. And then down here, right, where I'm looking right now, that's where my recording software is telling me what is happening right now and what it is that you guys will see. And I have to watch over there to talk about what you see here, because that thing is right here on my second monitor, and if I want to manipulate that, I have to watch there. So that's why, because I don't have assistants. Actually I have 3 assistants, the 3 cats. What are they doing? Kintaro is there sleeping in his basket. Machiko is sleeping there on the point chair. And I don't even see Sylvester anywhere. Where is he? He's gone. So you see, I'm missing half of the crew. And I could call it half, because Sylvester is almost as big as Machiko and Kintaro put together. So yes, I can say I'm missing half of my crew. So now I have to manipulate all of that together, so my eyes are just whizzing around. So let's go to the first comment. Hi János, thanks for the video on wire stripping. I appreciate the information and the effort you put into the video. I built the Grande speakers. I will continue to tune them. I will stop here right now. You guys, many of you already know this, but on this Buy Me a Coffee page, this is the, if you click on here, it looks like a mess, but when you click on it, it will bring you to this page. And there you can, it lets you basically download the plans that I have for Grande, which are actually very basic plans, because most of the information is really on my channel. I have, when you go back to my channel and you look at the playlist, the Grande playlist, I have like 24 videos, or I don't know how many, probably about in that order of magnitude, that I will talk about them, and then you can build it, and the hubs here is just kind of like summarizes and gives you the backbone to follow, and then you can step on that. And that's how the speakers will look like. And there's Machiko. She's around 5.5 kilos, 12 pounds or so. So like a 12-pound cat versus these big speakers. I would say they are normal size speakers, normal for me. In our world of ever miniaturizing speakers, they are like large-ish, kind of like normal floor standard size speakers. However, they are wider and a little bit not as deep, but they are not big speakers, and they use like these are 12 centimeter cone, like really tiny cone drivers. And let's go back to the question, to the support. So I build the Grande speakers. I continue to tune them. So yes, that's my intention, and that's my gift to you all, to give you something that you can tune, that you can learn with, and that's the whole point. And it's not just the point of Grande speakers, it should be the point of every single speaker that you own, to tune the speakers, to fine-tune them, because whatever you, if you didn't build it, you purchased a pair of speakers, they are never ever finished. So just because you bought that in a store, it doesn't mean that that's the last iteration of that loudspeaker. Just go back to that loudspeaker designer's webpage, and you see that like a year after, or 2 years later, 10 years later, he had like a myriad other modifications on the speakers. That's because he was continuing to tune them and arrive to major landmarks with the tunings. And often the tuning means that you don't change really big things. So the tuning, for example, crossover, when you have crossover parts, the connectors, the internal like dampening or lack of dampening, fine tunings of the interior of the cabinet, the feet, and etc., etc. There's lots of myriad things you can do without the need of purchasing a new cabinet or new drivers. People always assume that to upgrade a speaker you need new drivers. No, you can keep on using the same drivers, and you can even upgrade the drivers themselves. There's loads of things, loads of tricks that I've shared so far, how you can tweak your drivers, and that's how. It is not just like how you learn how to build a speaker, because most of you don't even want to build speakers, you just want to listen to music, right? But the reality of that is that you want to, all of us, we want to listen to music the way we want that music to sound like. The fallacy of audio is that there's like the best speaker in the world, or like authentic reproduction, or like following what the sound engineer wanted when he grafted that fantastic bit stream which left the studio. It's all BS, cock and bull story. Just look into any music history. Look at Beatles, how they recorded their music. There wasn't two person in the band who ever agreed on how the record should sound like. And that doesn't even count the sound engineer or the producer. It's like how many people were involved in the music. Everyone had a different idea, and at the end someone had the final say, and that's it. But that doesn't mean that there was any kind of agreement on how that should sound. Because no, everyone has his own version of what he imagines or she imagines it should sound like, and you are not the musician, or maybe you feel like you are like Rod Stewart, you want to be Rod Stewart or who else, but what about a different musician? Like, okay, like how can you pick, how can you even conceive of what, like you have like, let's say 500 CDs or 500 different bands you listen to. How do you know that each of them wanted or imagined? No idea. Even the same person who had an idea of the sound they wanted for an album, a year later the same musician or producer will have a different idea what he imagines it should sound like. Have you guys ever looked at record sales or any kind of music productions? It's like there's like the reissue and remix and remaster, and it's the same guy often doing the remaster who did the original master, and now like 10 years, 20 years later he feels that it should be totally different than what he did like 10 years or 20 years ago. So but let's just let go of that pile of steaming. Third, that imagination that there's any kind of sacred or divine mandate how a record or a recording or a beat stream should sound, and just follow your internal guidance, and just when you listen to the music, observe how the music affects you, and look at the aspects that involve you, and just go after that, and fine-tune your system to bring you more of what you want. And that's how I got back to this question, that's why you need to tune the speakers, because that's how you will get more of what you want. Because always we audiophiles follow the recipe that we have a system, we identify the shortcomings, and then we try to do a product purchase to overcome that specific shortcoming. However, when you change, like you change your speakers because you think you need bigger transparency or a little bit better bass control, then yeah, maybe that speaker, the new one you get, has better bass control, but you might lose like the mid-range. It will become flat and uninvolving, something like that. And then you'll have a whole set of different problems. So that's why when you just switch, like it's kind of like a recipe, that you want a recipe for an excellent goulash, and you change the beef in it to sushi. Because it's it looks good, better, right? Or like you love sushi, but that's not goulash anymore. Then you need to change the whole soup to make sense of it, and create like a Japanese dinner instead of Hungarian goulash, right? So instead, what you should do, if you like goulash and you want to make it better, by the way, it's called gulyás, not goulash. So if you want to very good gulyás leves, then you just take care that you don't just put some junk paprika from Safeway or Costco or whatnot, but you get some decent real paprika from Kalocha and use that, and wow, now I get the real flavor. And then you don't put in like cardamom and cumin and things like that, like gosh. So when I like look at goulash recipes online, and they put like, oh, this is the best goulash recipe I tasted, and it has cardamom, like, what fudge, like, get out of here. Probably it's great food, but it has nothing to do with goulash. So anyway, but that's your thing. So it doesn't matter what authentic goulash leves is. If you want something that has cardamom in it, you put the cardamom in the soup. The same thing with the speakers. You tune the speaker to your own taste, and it's extremely rare to never, I can guarantee you, it's never that your taste will be the same as the taste of the person who created the driver. So now I just will text Nelly. She's on the plane. I just dropped her off at the airport. She's flying out to Madison to a conference. So yeah, so she's on the plane. They'll be taking off soon. So back to the question. Using information and ideas I found on your Real World Audio channel. That's how he's tuning them, and I love it, because that's why I created the channel. So thank you for listening to the videos and putting them into effect, because that's my greatest joy with this channel, is to see you all, is to give like some guidance or into your hands, so you can just fine-tune the speakers, fine-tune the amplifier, fine-tune your cartridge, etc., everything. And why I really went more into the speaker aspect is because that's the easiest, and that's the easiest thing we can all get into, because when you are an audiophile, probably you know nothing about electronics. I knew nothing about electronics, nothing about woodwork, nothing about anything. I knew about things like molecular biology, martial arts, more like a dozen languages, but nothing about soldering. So when I started, this was like acoustics, this was like totally alien to me. And by modifying speakers, getting used to speakers, that's the best way to get into it without much pain and with a lot of feeling of success. I'm beginning to think that I prefer the sound of La Grande to the void pipes I made as well. Thanks for sharing this information with us. And actually, that's why on my Buy Me a Coffee page I shared La Grande's the plans for La Grande. And the other reason that I haven't shared my void pipes plan here was just actually pure laziness. I should just take the time and just add it here as well. But why I really share La Grande is because this was something that number one, I created this design as a challenge, and it was also a collaboration with Jurgen, with I Am Mad, that's his channel, and he is like a really hardcore audiophile. He got into it. He's got bitten by the audio bug really badly too, just like me. and he is now, if you look at his channel, he has a German language channel, and also he has an English version, but sadly, like, even though English should be international, and there's like how many, everyone in the world speaks English, but he said that the English channel is dead. And his Mirror, the German channel where he made the material English and German, the German is just exponentially blowing up. Just like unbelievable. So like I'm really amazed that all of my audio friends from Germany, you are the real deal, and you don't fuff about. You sit down and you take matters in your hands and build. That's fantastic. That's phenomenal. And I would really love if the rest of the world just get just some of your inspiration rubs off onto the rest of the world too. So basically, La Grande was our idea with Jurgen. We did a lot of brainstorming. There was the Le Petit speaker. That's a really iconic speaker, and that design. And we thought that, oh, what? And then also that it was Torsten, because Torsten of Snake Oil Audio, he made a video on Le Petit, and then his inspiration, which was a super inspirational loudspeaker for him, and actually that's how with Jurgen we thought that, okay, let's just recreate Le Petit, or our version of Le Petit. So La Grande is mine, and the Bumblebee was Jurgen's, and Jurgen was so gracious that actually he sent me the Fostex drivers. So these were the gifts from Jurgen, and I thought that the least I can do is just share the plans with them. And then since then, Jurgen has now his nth iteration on the Bumblebee, and he went into other speakers projects, and I really recommend to everyone to look at his channel. I will post links to him. And if you are put off by German language, just use the auto translate and translation functions, and it will be easy. By the way, his videos are a lot better than my videos. I love watching Jurgen's videos. His production is off the charts, and he's just, you will see, he has an excellent, amazing time making those videos. It's just fantastic. So that's my goal, to make my videos half as good as Jurgen's videos. So basically, La Grande is something that I think it will match most rooms easier than void pipes. People will have an easier issue of placing them and optimizing them to your room. And paradoxically, even though these are like really tiny drivers, let's just click back there, like these, what were these, like 5-inch drivers or something, 4.5-inch drivers, but they sound as if they were big drivers. So the crazy thing, you guys see them sitting there next to my voice of Lancelot, and when I was playing material through the same system, you see my amps there. So compared to the amps running to the voice of Lancelot, which are those giant Altec speakers, they are running into the Grande. Then, and if I'm not crunching them, that limitation that we have small cone, it means that it cannot play bass or cannot play material very loud. So this is not for those of you who crave to break the SPL barriers. This is really a learning loudspeaker, and the learning is mostly here in our own brains and our own mentality, because we have to wean off from the loser mentality that we need to listen to the music louder and louder because it sounds better and better. So La Grande is the comset speaker that you don't have to really blast music to enjoy it. You can enjoy it at a normal, comfortable, low volume. Of course, if you live in like central New York or somewhere where there's great noise coming from outside, done. This won't work there because you barely hear anything above the noise floor. But that's also one tenet of audio, is if you have high noise floor in your room, forget about high-end audio or any kind of music enjoyment, because if you have like a 60 dB noise floor, then there's nothing left for music. Or maybe then you need to crank up to so loud levels that it will damage your hearing. So it's better to look for an alternative hobby in that case if you live in such loud areas, or if you really want to go into audio in such noisy environments, you must, absolutely must soundproof your room and get back those the noise floor, drop it below like an average of 30 dB or lower, and that's like an absolute minimum. It should be like even lower than that. And when you have like a normal quiet environment where you can listen to music, these speakers are fantastic for that, and actually they work in big rooms. That's really paradox. So these tiny drivers can work in really big rooms. So when we are playing material, even if I play something like church organ, I play church organ and not extreme volume, just like a normal volume. And if Nelly is out in the kitchen, she says, I cannot tell whether you are playing the voice of the Lancelot or La Grande. So imagine, guys. So this speaker has the potential to have the same tonal qualities and the same room loading as if it was the mother of big loudspeakers. So this is for all of you who want a taste of the Altec sound on a non-existent budget. That's how you can get it. But it also comes with the major warning that it will throw your amplification and source in your face. And if it doesn't cut the mustard with these tiny speakers, with La Grande, it won't cut the mustard with the voice of Lancelot either, with the big Altecs either, or any big horns. So it's an indicator that when you have that sound that you think you are, if you are blindfolded and they turn on the music and you think, wow, I'm listening to Altec speakers, that's what La Grande is capable of bringing to you, provided you reach the amplification and source to that level where it can also drive an Altec speakers. So So that's why I think this is just like something just ultra incredible. And no, it won't give you the ability to play as loud as the voice of Lancelot can. Yes, the voice of Lancelot can play as loud that it... and actually it's not the loudness, because the weirdest thing with the voice of Lancelot is that the volume switch stops being a loudness switch. Even like if I put the switch to the loudest, it feels that I have done nothing to the sound. And if there's no material, no dynamic material in the music I'm listening to, it doesn't get any louder. It's like, what's happening? I'm at max volume and I'm barely hearing anything. What's happening? Oh, well, if in the recorded music it's not boom, not falling on top of you, then it won't fall on top of you. But if in the music the wall is coming down, then yes, it will bring the wall down. And the voice of Lancelot can really, if the music is that dynamic, will create a feeling in you. Actually, it created a feeling in me, and Irvin has experienced that as well, that it will invoke the flight or fight reflex. So you feel that your life is in danger. And not because it's loud, so it's not hurting your ears, it just feels like you are in imminent danger, that something is about to happen that can damage your life. And so if you are looking for experience like that, no, the Grande will never bring that to you. If you push it too much, then it will just show it to you that no, you need to dial that those watts down. Okay, this is way too much. With the voice of Lancelot, that never happened really. But at the area where they are comfy to play is just, it's epic, and you would think that you are listening to 15-inch drivers. So that's why these are just really phenomenal, and the greatest benefit of them is that as you are forced to listen to at cultured volumes, so the level you have to listen to is a level where your hearing will be forced to develop. Because if you listen to something super loud, then your brain doesn't need to put in processing power to interpret the sound, and it's kind of like muscles. If the louder the volume, it's like you are getting like a tiny weight, and you are making bicep curls with like 5 grams. It's doing you nothing. You have wasted your time in the gym. But if you listen to it at a level where your attention needs to be peeled, that you are looking for the details, that's when you are bringing up the big barbell and then doing the heavy crunches. And then when you crank it to really soft volumes, that's when you are really doing the really heavy lifting. And that's what develops your hearing. And that's what I recommend to everyone. Your hearing is getting better by training, and these speakers, the Grande, these are excellent with training, because what I noticed and what you all notice with most speakers is that when you turn the volume down, everything just collapses, and you don't even want to listen to it or train your ears, because it just doesn't sound any good, so you crank the volume back up. However, these speakers, Grande, and the voice of Lancelot, they have that capacity that when you turn the volume down, it still plays music. And it's just with the Grande, it feels like it's quieter. With the voice of Lancelot, it does that additional trick that the volume control, it doesn't feel at all like you are changing the volume. It can be playing music, and I crank the volume this much more or less, and people don't notice that I touch the volume button. Because it just feels that the space, the stage, everything is right there, it's logged in, the music is in the air, and it feels just like kind of like the music getting more distant or closer to you. It's a really interesting feeling, but it doesn't feel like the music is collapsing on you the way it does with commercial speakers and commercial gear. That's how it feels, that when you turn the volume down, it feels like the music is just collapsing. So that's why you have to keep it up, because that's when it opens up and it starts to breathe. But these designs, this is the baby, the Grande, and the big one, the voice of Lancelot, that both of these have a very different philosophy of reproducing sound. And actually, as you guys see, I have them next to each other because they represent the same type of sound and the same need for really well done amplification and source. And they are the extremes, the far end extremes of the audio path that you can take. And as I can say, you can play any of these at a cultured volume, and you will be happy with any of these. So that's my take too. I'm happy playing either Voice of Lancelot or Grande. It doesn't matter, both sounds like fantastic and provides music the way I love it. And that's it. So going back, your support will be 100%. Oh, that's me. So basically, another thing about void pipes. So actually, the voice of Lancelot is eventually, that's my imagination of void pipe for Altec driver. So how would a void pipe look like that uses the Altec 515 driver and 288 compression driver? And that's voice of Lancelot. So that's how I redesigned the void pipe for Altec. So basically that's also a void pipe, and then when I compressed it back, I simplified the voice of Lancelot cabinet, and that's Grande. So basically the Grande is it's not a void pipe anymore, but it's an iteration of the void pipe. So it's kind of like the mirroring of the voice of Lancelot into a tiny driver and a tiny budget and like really humble way of reproducing it. So that's the micro voice of Lancelot. That's the Grande, and I just love it. It's a really fantastic speaker, and actually it has more potential than a void pipe for the same size driver. I think for this tiny size driver, it's the most that I can think of that can be brought out from such driver sizes. So this is Nick's comment. I'm going to, I think now, let's look, 37 minutes. So Nick, I'm going to make your answer to a different video. And Alex's question now, I'm going to follow with that. Thank you so much for sharing this fantastic info. I was going to use a MLTL mass-ruled transmission line design, but prefers yours. I'll be building my first transmission line speaker with this void design. Do you have plans for a 10 centimeter single driver? And actually, my response for you is yes, right here, the Grande speakers. And while technically these are not canonical void pipes, they're not even transmission lines, but they were born from void pipe, from the void pipe design reimagined. And yes, you could build transmission lines and void pipes with 10-inch drivers, and I heard many of them. And however, what my thoughts on them without exception are that they can be quite fantastic, and it will be like, wow, I'm hearing a 10 centimeter driver, this is phenomenal. But what you hear, or what I hear, to me, without fail, all of the transmission lines and void pipes or open buffers with 10 centimeter drivers are severely lacking in upper bass and mid bass. It just, they cannot do it in normal. So in a transmission line you can have like deep bass coming from a 10 centimeter driver, but your upper bass, mid bass is gone. It's non-existing. So you might have like 40 hertz from a long transmission line from a 10-inch driver. You'll have 40, or maybe reach even 30 hertz. But like 70 to 150 hertz, 200 hertz, non-existent. It's gone. So I'm not saying that that's a problem, but because I have lots of audio friends who don't need strong mid bass or upper bass and just want just some quiet chill out listening. It's perfect for that, and it's beautiful sound. But there's a lot of music that requires a certain amount of mid bass, upper bass, and those will sound just completely non-realistic on transmission lines with 10-inch drivers. So I think to me, how I feel music is, or what boxes it tick for me, for a 10-inch or 12-inch driver, this Grande, this is the cabinet, and this is like such that it will work down to like the 30 hertz region, and will have like fantastic, really rich, nice mid bass, upper bass, and like really flat tonal range. I mean, the emphasis is not on the flatness. Under flat, I mean that there won't be blaring humps and valleys, so won't be big troughs and big peaks. It's balanced, and its balance is very similar to the balance of the voice of Lancelot, and I never heard any other loudspeaker do that or come even close to the tonal balance of the voice of Lancelot. So that's like that's such a mean feat, such an epic feat that is just incredible. And now, if you say that, so now thanks to my videos and Jurgen's videos on his Bumblebee, we were using the Fostex FF125WK, so that's the driver that I used for this project. Now this driver is getting bought up everywhere, so now in Germany it's gone. So if you want to get it, it's very nearly impossible to get it. But what you can do, what is really excellent, that you can still use my Grande design with other drivers, and for that there will be two caveats that you must do. One of them is that you will have to start the fine-tuning yourself and find it out how it is. Number one, most likely. So here you see that these FF125WKs are recessed. There's a tiny horn in front of them, and that's there to help with the 2 kHz region. And if you use a different driver, then don't do that, because that tiny horning, that tiny lensing is specific for the 125WK. If you use a different driver, let's say Sonido or something else, then just have the cones sit at the plane of the front baffle and go from there. And then number two, the slot ports. So this speaker has 2 slot ports on each side facing down, and play around with the height of the port. So build it in such a way that you can have access to the inside of the port. And as you see here, I have brass screws. That's how I put it together. So it's held together by brass screws. I didn't put in any glue. And that's the purpose, so that if I want to reach in, I can unscrew it and do it. And that's all you need. You don't need to do anything that you need to that you cannot undo. It will be it's still perfect. And so that's how you start. Flat cone with the front face plate, and for the ports, make sure that you'll be able to make the ports shorter or longer. Probably you won't need to make them longer. If you are using 10-inch or 12-inch drivers, just probably try with the same port height as I have. If you are using a little bit bigger, then make it shorter. You can drop it even drastically shorter. If you are using like the bigger Sonidos, like a 6-inch Sonidos, then drop it to something like 10 centimeters less, like drastically less. And what it will do, that your speaker will be, the shorter the port height is, the louder the speaker can generally play, but the deep bass will be disappearing. So that's a paradox, that if you put in a driver that has higher efficiency, it can play louder, but the deep bass will disappear Even if you have a bigger cone, the deep bass will disappear and it will not sound anymore like the voice of Lancelot, because that lowest octave will be gone, but you'll be able to play the rest of it like a lot louder than you would be able to play La Grande by itself. So where am I? Where am I? Let's go back here. So yes, so that's my recommendation, is that if you are thinking of a 10-inch or 10 centimeter or 12 centimeter single driver, then go for La Grande and put it in flat, and then first just try with the same slot port height and then tune it, and even in the plans and in the videos I tell that the port height that I have for the La Grande is optimized for my room and my amplifiers, and yours might be different. So that's why I just give what I used, but for you, you have to try it for yourself. And I have lots of friends who are trying them out, playing around with them, and yes, it's something that you want to keep in mind to make it optimal for the drivers you choose, for the amp you drive it with, and your room you place it in. And I want to also look at Fifi's comment, and he has something really interesting for us. Hey János, firstly I want to thank you for all your informing on your channel. I've got a quick question for you. I'm building the AO speakers and want to do it on a Saba green cone 5898. The speakers are 24 by 18 centimeters, so 18.2 centimeter. I think will be too thin. What would you recommend for that? Actually, this is the perfect size. So the AOs, they are also 24 high and they are 16 wide. So this is just 2 centimeter wider than the AO drivers, and that's absolutely perfect because the faceplate, the internal width of the AO is 18.5 centimeters. 18, that's absolutely perfect. That matches the AO cabinet even better than my own Alnico speakers or Alnico drivers do. So it's absolutely perfect. So I would say go for the AO cabinet. This is the best driver you can find. Somewhere, here we are. So let's these are the ones. These are the Saba green cones. That's how they look like. They are the twin brothers of my Zenith Alnicos that I have, and these will be absolutely beautiful for. So this is the Alnico version. So that one looks like a ferrite version of the Saba. So this is the Alnico, and it's perfect. So I really can recommend just build the AO with them, and that's it. You found the perfect driver for it, and now I also maybe can add it to my recommendation if someone wants to build the AO, build with the Saba. One thing that is might be missing, that I don't know what their TLS small parameters are, so we might need to look into that and optimize the slot port length, because it's like a folded pipe, but it's basically a mass loaded transmission line. So the slot port height or depth, it would optimize it a little bit. So based on the driver you might, but I would say just take my cabinet as it is, just build with them. Don't worry if the dimensions are like a little bit off. It's really a relaxed design, and I think the Sabas will work phenomenally in them. And what you can expect from them is that it will be a speaker that a musician would love, because it just presents things so naturally. And I think the Sabas also have the same ability to have that natural presentation, so expect to hear astonishingly good grand piano on it. It's just like the EOS are my favorite for playing piano. even though I have like the voice of Lancelot, they can also do phenomenal piano, but for some reason with the AOs I just absolutely unreservedly love them, how they present piano. So back to here, and also like Fifi said, thanks again. Also you have any film photo questions, I understand that that's your other hobby, I can help because I'm a pro filmmaker. So thank you, Fifi. So I will reach out to you, and I think that will be something that we can explore, and I'm so glad to find a fellow friend who's into both audio and video and films and photography. That's fantastic. So what I'm going to do is, Nick, I'm going to make it separate for you, because now I'm getting close to 50 minutes, and that capacitor question, that deserves a really detailed answer. So this video was about void pipes, Legrand, 10-inch drivers, transmission lines, and catching up with friends. So thank you for checking in. Thank you all for your very kind, very precious support, and see you next time. Bye bye.